Hello everyone, Strategic Sage here, continuing our Necromancer adventure, and it gets a bit grindy at this point. We're going to be jumping around between some key battles here. I like to clear out as much territory as I can around where our core group is here, because that allows Elderlings to just sort of fill in, and we can try to go out and take them or hack them, whatever we want to do, when the occasion arises. Also will let us get to locations of the Migrants probably a little easier. We do have some Migrants hanging out in our territory, by the way. We've got Clanlings. These have been hatched now from those Ninzel chambers. And we go over to Daring. I think they have one here as well. They've got a couple of chambers here that are about to hatch. Okay. So, they have the ability to spawn the smaller youngling ships, and they also have a harmonic bonus. So the up to 10 Clanlings on a particular planet will get a damage increase. So we're going to want to secure as many of them as we can, but we have a lot more to concern ourselves with than just that. I'm going to pop in here to Luxurian. We're going to want that eventually. And there's more, of course, Migrants up that way as well. And we're at the point where I think I can pretty much handle most planets, but this should be a pretty decent test of that theory.
Massive expansion into our territory.
Oh yeah, lots of fun in here. We've got a significant volume of Warden as well. So we'll just see how this goes. And let's see. Let's definitely be knocking out some of these Deathweeda Guardians. Maybe we'll move up into this Warden Ball, which is running away from us. I'm fine with that. And we have a new journal. The Return. Commander, we have confirmed the signal's origin, and it is most assuredly a migrant we have seen before. They had kept their word and appear to be en route to our territory post-haste. More excitingly, it looks to have brought along some ships of middle size. That being Clanlings. Our recently established Ninzel Culture Division notes that these may be more of what they have labeled Clanlings, and that there is a much more uplifting tone in its message. They are looking forward to interacting with Clanlings that were not born of our galaxy. And the message follows: we return creatures of bone. We are most pleased to detect your ever fortitude in these times of great strife and migration into your void lands. Okay, so we can understand most of what they're saying. Considering its small charges, our culture heads are strongly suggesting we send assistance to guarantee their arrival. And so if we take a look at Neumann, they say, Migrant has returned to your galaxy yet again, needs no guidance to reach your territory. We'll be moving to Luxurian in 2 minutes. Now, there's too much resistance here. I'm pretty sure they're going to be overwhelmed. But the key point is they would find their way back to our territory by themselves, so long as we give them a reasonably clear path and it's not overwhelmed with enemy forces. So another reason for us to just push out further and have clear areas. If we can get more of them and we don't have to deal with the escort cost, the time of spinning our fleet out there to do it, that could be quite helpful for us. So here is our final planet in our cluster. You can see they're doing lots of tractoring, which I'm not a big fan of. But also they have a dire Deathweeda Guardian. And we're going to try to see if we can get rid of some of these tractor ships. But it doesn't look like they're trying to haul them off into another system too much. Okay. Now the Deathweedas, obviously always a big target of ours, but dire Guardians in particular are a little special for Necromancer. They give you a mummy, and there are no caps on mummies, but now that we've captured one, we now have the option to upgrade them, and there are variants you can get. I'm going to leave that be for now and focus our research elsewhere until we get larger amounts. But we also have information here. We have Royal version, Decaying version, Withered version. And due to the fact that there just aren't a ton of Dire Guardians, it's going to take a while for this to become a significant part of our force. But it will eventually, I think. One of the things that was eliminated in testing is you used to be able to just trigger the AI reserves and take the dire singularity, excuse me, guardians they produce, and convert them into mummies, essentially farm them, but that's no longer a possibility. And until you get fairly high AI progress, we're not going to see a ton of these, at least until we get closer into the core AI worlds. Now, meanwhile, we have this fun. This wrathful Elderling has been driven mad by its fellows and is rampaging. When we start to see this, we know that the Elderlings are starting to hit critical mass. And when they go insane, a couple things can happen. One, they can go straight after a player world. Another thing that can happen is they can just attack randomly whoever. So we want to take this advantage to possibly get a new flagship. We are going to transform this right here. 15 hacking. And it will turn it into a sacrificial version that's a little bit harder to deal with. But it will also grant us a blueprint if we defeat it. Also worth noting is these little sapper ships, Emerald Blasters. I don't know if they have any on this planet. I'm not seeing any. I know they have some over here. They come from these watchtower structures that the sapper has. So they're continuing their ramp up and they're building these little ships that can go about. We've got sappers up to Mark 3 and Mark 4. So that's worth noticing. But let's eliminate you. Gradually. Eventually. Perhaps. It's going to take some time. We are going to... Yeah, we're actually done here. Let's grab you and bring you back as well. Just in case you're needed. But we're whittling it down. There we go. So, we would potentially be able to transform this flagship. We do not have enough essence. I notice the hacking cost is different between them. That's because the higher mark your flagship is, the more hacking it costs to do a transform. The other part of it is, we have to be of a certain minimum level. And for this one, we would need to be Mark 3. Neither one of my flagships are Mark 3, so I can't actually transform them yet. But we have the blueprint, is the point. We'll be able to use that later on. So we're now expanding in the other direction. I want to get into Hive Home here for a bit. There was an alarm post here, which I hacked. Things like alarm posts and hives, strongly recommend hacking. It's really hard to control the strength levels that you have as Necromancer. So, since you can regenerate hacking points, you might as well go ahead and do it that way. But I'd also like to get through here and hit this data center eventually. And that would push us through well this way. I eventually want to build a defensive necropolis out here. They've got an ion cannon here. They have some Elderlings in here, I think. So this could be a particularly interesting battle for us to try to handle. And we'll see how it goes. Now, I do also, before I hop in here, we've gradually been acquiring a bit more science. I'm upgrade our whites to Mark 3. And then I'm going to go back into some of the skeletons. But we don't have a lot of possessed whites. Most of our whites are regulars, so going up to Mark 3 there seems like a reasonable idea. And what do we have here? Okay, it's pretty strong resistance. We definitely want to target this ion cannon right away. That's just going to rip our fleets apart. Boom. Very well done. And notice all of the younglings. There are not one or two of them around. There are many. But our mummy is doing a good job of sorting them out to a degree. And we've really taken control of this pretty well already. Everybody in. And the Elderlings have run. So it looks like this is going to work out just fine for us. counterattack building, but that shouldn't be a problem. We've got our fleet defending this wave in Congo. There's migrants on the other side. Oh, there's the Elderling. Cyclopean. And this would be a different type of hack if we wanted to transform them. I'm not going to do that. I mean, we could get a little bit more essence from them. Looks like they're going to run away, which I'm fine with that as well. The wild hives on Congo have come to our aid, so they have now made it onto our planets. And they're friendly, but that's a little bit more to the story than that. We have access to a wild hive on Congo, and basically, even though they're going to help us, they also, there's a bit of lore in that about the wild hives, but they're still going to restrict our combat abilities, so it's probably to our benefit to get rid of them. We'll just have to figure out where they are. Let's see. Custodians. There we go. They only have one. They've just got the worker. But I will eventually want to get rid of them. Thankfully, they haven't built any hives here yet, so they're not actually restricting our attack and our speed of movement. And they basically are disliking AI-controlled space, so that's why they're helping us, I guess. Almost an hour in, we're getting set to come in here, hit this data center, and clear out this system, basically, as our furthest push this way. Notice I don't want to go down this way, because I don't want to trigger that Guardian layer. And if we can ignore this whole area, I may just do that. But we have a couple of journals that have hit. The nanocosts have arrived, so the nanobot war has begun. And we've got another little story bit with the wild Nine's little hives. We don't know where the nanocosts are, though, and we've explored between a third and half of the galaxy at this point. So we're going to have to wait and see how much of a problem that's going to be and how soon. But meanwhile, with dealing with this kind of system, I'm just going to send in my weak skeletons first, because they are completely expendable. And I think from this, we're going to have something in the range of 30-some strength. But the main thing is just scouting. They're going to attrition out to nothing eventually anyway, so sending those skeletons in loses me nothing. Well, almost nothing. Okay. So now if we look in here, unfortunately, I mean, they're going to have these swarming at us, we know. They have a dire nucleophilic guardian. And then we have to deal with the fact that we've got to find a way to kill this without triggering the eye. So that's unpleasant. But from the numbers here, we should be able to send in most, but not all of our force. So 16 of those. I'm going to send in all of the skeletons, but none of the whites. Bodyguards, the whole shooting match. And my goal is to just hit this and get out, and then deal with hacking this. Particularly the rogues should help out here. Okay, they've got 103 strength. Actually, what's my whole fleet at? That's more than my whole fleet. Okay, the thing is, if we knock out... I'm going to wait a bit. Because if we knock this out, it could drop us below the threshold. And that would be bad. But it looks like this is a reasonable try. Come on, get it. Okay, now we have another mummy, and that's going to help us out. And all of you just sort of do whatever in here. And then I'll bring in this to hack. Okay. Sabotage? Chain Lightning Eye. Yeah. So the idea is hopefully we have enough protection for long enough until we hack the eye, and then we bring in everybody. So it's just, you kind of got to balance out how much can I afford to send in, what's the way I'm going to take the minimal losses. There we go. We got it. We're down to 47 hacking, but we got it. Now we're going to turn everybody in. All the whites will join in the battle. And we just got to stop this avalanche of attack. It doesn't look like we actually lost that much. That went better than I expected. Let's definitely hit this. And I want to get that sabot because that could cause us some pain. Get our data center. We have lots of fun friends over here. There we go. We're down to our minimum of 70. The absolute floor for difficulty 7. And our shield's hurting pretty much here, so we got to be careful. Okay, let's hit that sabot. Alright. Now I think we're going to be doing pretty well. And we should be able to clear this out. We just got to be careful. I'm going to move my flagship back again to get out of the line of fire. But I imagine the rest of you can handle your business. And another system has been taken down by the Necromancer. Another event of galactic import has occurred. Reserves we know about. The contested territory here, basically the two factions of wild hives have now encountered each other. And some crossfire could definitely occur. We could be wandering into some spicy situations. So we need to definitely take care when it comes to that. And then we need to decide how we're going to move forward here. We really need to expand. And we need to get in a better situation for hunting down Elderlings. I want to use a defensive necropolis and make use of its scouting range. But where to build it? I thought about coming over here. By the way, this is a Wild Hives planet. Lovely, lovely. They're coming in this direction. But over here in Selin, there's a couple of Templar fastness structures that we could eventually get into. And then this would be a good blocking off point. Of course, there's an amplifier here. There's a rift. So this would be a really nice place to take. And I think I want to do that eventually. But before that, I'm going to head up this way to Arafune. Because it doesn't look like it's a great defensive location. It's a bit of a risk. Because we don't know what's nearby it. On the positive side, though, if we sit out here, we will be able to scout with the 2-hop recon range virtually this entire area. And we'll just be able to take a look at, okay, there have to be some Elderling traffic in here somewhere. And really that's our biggest obstacle in being able to scale up further. And I want to be able to expand. I'm not worried about the AI at this point. Our fleet is pretty much strong enough. We've got about 100 strength in our fleet. We could take on almost any planet, say outside of Bastion or Homeworlds. And I do need to, though, scale up and deal with that nano cost. And the only way I can do that is to get more essence. So that's my plan going forward. We will see how that works when we return. It's going to be a bit of a long fight getting up there, so we'll save that till the next episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, any comments, any suggestions, let me know below. And if you're enjoying the series, want to see more, go ahead and subscribe if you would like. And then you'll be notified when the next video comes on.